Yeah.
The February 24, 2026 Conservation Commission, Manchester by the Sea Conservation Commission meeting. I'm Henry Ottinger. I'm the vice chair, and we're working under the auspices of the Wetlands Protection Act and our local bylaws. And we're happy to see members of the community here tonight. You're welcome to either use your video or not. And please reserve the chat function for technical, meaning computer issue or Zoom issues, because that is not part of the recorded record. That's a little bit redundant. I'm going to call a roll, if I could, of commissioners. Dr. Hayes.
Here.
Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Mr. Lumsden.
Here.
Dr. Turner.
Here.
And Mr. Gang.
Here.
I guess we're going to have to look at that for most of the evening. A little disturbing.
The alternative, trust me.
Apologize for that. I want to also propose a very slight change to our order tonight, if I can. We have a continued case first, and then our third and fourth cases should be very, very short. One is a request for a COC, and one's an extension request. And I don't think either of those will take more than a couple minutes. So without any objection, I'd like to just go in the order of 1, 3, 4, and then 2, because case 2 may take a little bit more time than the other 3. Any objections to that by anybody in the public or on the commission?
Nope.
Awesome. In that case, let us open the public hearings, and we'll hear a continuation request for Mass DEP 0390937 44 Norwood Ave. They have requested a continuation? Would somebody
So
make
moved.
that movement? Thank you. Second? Terrific. A roll call vote from commissioners. Olga?
Here. Yes. A.
No,
Aye.
that's an aye or a nay, either one. Jim?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Gordon?
Aye.
And Steve? And I'm also an aye. It's unanimous. Continued to March. Bethany?
17th.
17th. Oh, St. Patty's Day. How could I forget? Awesome. Next case is a request for a certificate of compliance for Mass DEP 039-918 11 Magnolia Avenue for Gary Gilbert in construction of a shed. We received the materials we requested, I believe, from Mr. Gilbert. Is that right, Bethany? So are you putting that up, Bethany? You're muted right now.
Oh, sorry. Yes, here's the shed on the plan, on the notice of intent, and there wasn't any change to this plan, approved plan.
Right. And just for administrative reasons, he also provided our initial conditions on that. Is that also correct?
Yes.
Fantastic. Are there questions from commissioners?
And did we
Are there
include perpetual conditions?
Bethany, are there any perpetuals?
No. All that he sent me was the order of conditions that were just like the state, I'm pretty sure.
Was probably standard with
Yeah,
maybe
the standard
maybe
state
some-
conditions. Yeah.
something more specific, but no perpetuals is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Steve, do you recall perpetuals needed there?
I can think of Henry was within storage of chemicals, hazardous waste, etc.
Yeah, it should be standard, right?
That was
Yeah.
in the standard, I believe, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
there.
Okay, if there are no further comments, I'll hear a motion to do we grant the certificate? Do we close the case here? Which are we doing?
Issue a certificate of
Issue a
compliance.
certificate of compliance from Mass DEP 039918.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Gordon seconds. Olga,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Steve. You're muted, Steve, or I think that was an aye from the
Aye.
Thank you. I'm also an aye. Unanimous. Certificate is issued, so issued.
Okay.
And our third case is a request for a one-year extension for Mass DEP 0390885 for 2 Harold Street. And this is from Wrecking Crew LLC.
Mhm.
Is anybody representing Wrecking Crew LLC tonight?
I don't see anybody.
Okay. And we can grant 1 year on bylaws, allow for that, right? And this is for allowing an extra season of growing for the planting plan, I
Yes.
understand. So I'm all for that. Are there questions from commissioners?
No.
Any questions from the public? All right, I'll entertain an order, motion to grant the request for a 1 year extension. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Great, thanks, Gordon. All right, all in favor. Olga? Jim?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Gordon?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
I'm also an aye. That's unanimous. Extension is granted, 0390885.
Okay.
Henry, before we move on, your voice is now echoing. Do you have
I
your
think
cell
it's
phone?
from Steve's computer because the raccoon mouth is moving when Henry's talking.
What? Let's test that. Testing.
Let's test that.
think
Well,
he's
Steve's muted now.
so
He's muted, so
okay.
that's probably best. There's nothing, I don't have any other devices on at my end. Is my voice more clear right now?
Yes, it
Yes.
is. Steve is not
Perfect.
muted, so it might have been his thing.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good. That brings us to Mass DEP 0390945 48 Central Street. Is there anyone here representing that case? I don't. Oh, there's Mike.
Hi, sorry.
Hi,
I was
Mike.
slow on the uptake there.
All good.
Hello, everyone. Mike DeRosa, DeRosa Environmental. Since the last meeting, I'll share my screen. I have the memo and the plan. Oh,
You should be allowed to. I just clicked it.
oh yeah, perfect. Thanks, Bethany. So since the last meeting, we made some changes to the plan. You've got copies of the plan. Essentially, we've taken the pergola off the plan and the electric service to the pergola, or not electric, I meant gas. Service to the pergola have been removed, so we're just going to have a natural fire table with wood burning fire pit. And then the wood storage area we added behind the existing shed. Those I think were the outstanding questions. We do have one was the DEP file number was updated. Evan took care of that with
Great.
I think Kyle. So that's all been updated. And then the other outstanding thing was the Historic Commission, and Mark, Matt, who isn't with us tonight, he had a family thing, couldn't be here, but he sent me the email correspondence with Rosemary Costello, who's the chair of the Historic Commission, and he pushed her to say that if we don't have the pergola, then we don't need to file with Historic based on the plan. And she said, yes, if there's no pergola or other constructions or destruction, then it is outside our purview. So we don't, based on what's left on the plan, which isn't very much, to be honest, we're converting pavement to grass. We have some stepping stones and the patio, converting the patio, porous patio and the plantings. It's all, at grade, which meets the definition of the Historic Commission's requirement for filing. And we think this addresses all the issues from the commission over the last 3 or 4 meetings on this. I can't think of anything else. So if there's any questions, Letitia and I are here tonight. So Letitia is the engineer of record for the project.
Thanks, Mike. Are there questions from the commission?
I am perfectly comfortable with this project.
Yeah. Henry, I think it's much improved. I think it's an improvement to the surrounding environment to remove some of this pavement down here. So I think that's good. There's still this question in my mind of the generators and things like that, which were sort of put in an unsanctioned way. I guess I'm just sort of curious, what should we do about that as a commission, right? It wasn't this owner, right? So it's not like we can punish this owner for having put them in. Do we permit those as part of this plan, just so that it's taken care of going forward, or do we leave them as unpermitted structures? What does the commission feel about that?
Yeah, thanks, Gordon. That's a great question. And I do not know the answer to that. I'd like to hear from Steve if we could. I don't feel comfortable necessarily including them because I don't think that's the right path to take. So I don't know if we can, I think we could certainly approve the decking and fence and woodpile storage, etc., grass, and exclude that at this time.
Well, I think if I could comment, Henry, on that.
Can you wait one sec, Mike? I just want to hear from Steve.
No, that's fine. Yeah,
Thank
sorry.
you. This is just commissioners right now.
Sure. Well, I think either we find a graceful way to acknowledge it without granting a permit tonight, or we require an after the fact NOI. Because unfortunately, violations of town bylaw that pertain to the property run with the property. So the new owner who did nothing wrong would unfortunately inherit the need to fix the violation. So we thought is we could simply acknowledge in the finding of facts that we have identified the pads for these appliances as unpermitted structures, and we're not requiring a filing for them, nor are we allowing them to regarding them as something that would hold up this NOI.
So let me just clarify, Steve. Are you recommending including the pads as approved? Or are you recommending excluding them from this particular application?
Yeah, I would exclude them from the permitting we're doing tonight, but I would include them in the statement of findings so that we have on the record the fact that the commission looked at them, considered them, and decided not to require an after-the-fact NOI.
Got it.
I'm sorry, just to remind myself, the proposal wanted to put in a pad underneath these?
Well,
Sorry.
Jim, the history is that the pads were installed in an unpermitted fashion. In
Yeah,
the
I guess
past.
that, but what is being asked to do here with these?
Nothing physically. They're just the request is to include them in this application so that they are considered permitted.
Yeah.
Do you have
Because I
thoughts on
wouldn't-
that, Jim?
You know, there's a difference between, if I understood you, Steve, that there's the not allowing or not condoning, but then there's the disallowing, and that goes down a slippery slope of a lot of homes might be out of compliance with one factor or another, and this should have been caught when the prior owner did it. But
Mhm.
I hate going back and like pointing out things that need fixing that have existed. Unless they were trying to do something with the pad, it seems like you could exclude it from the proposal, just like you exclude other,
I think they were done at relative contemporaneous with the remodeling of the house. So it's not ancient history, Jim, and we could easily distinguish, to go back 100 years from a case like this. In my mind, it's more the small size of them, the fact that, we have had some fact finding done about them, and we've determined that there really isn't much alternative.
but if you force them to do an NOI, then you're probably wouldn't be approving it, and then that's basically saying you got to get rid of them. So I'm not sure. I'd want to know how that plays out.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure that we would not approve an NOI. I think it's just a procedural step, Jim. We actually have corresponded with DPW several times about their location, et cetera, and I, for one, I'm okay with the locations. Let me hear from Gordon, and then we can continue.
Yeah. So, if if we're going down this path of thinking, okay, we'll do another NOI and then we'll approve it, I'd be inclined to just approve it tonight. I mean, we've asked about alternative locations as part of this application. It seems reasonable that there are no other suitable locations, but this would be the time to fix it, right? So if we felt like there was an alternative location here, we could inquire about that further and then just get it all done now, or just accept them where they are. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm leaning, if we think we're going to approve it anyway.
I
That's a
agree
reasonable
with
point,
Gordon.
Gordon.
It would be punitive to do another NOI if we're just going to approve it.
We've
Yep.
gotten to a fairly good
David.
spot here with all the other changes.
David, where do you clock in here?
I'm thinking this is a non-compliant placement by a previous owner. But several of the other requests today are also non-compliant according to the regulations, and we're considering approving them. And since Mike included these two devices in his application, we have two more devices that are non-compliant that were done by a previous owner. I would lump them all together and vote on them tonight. rather than stretch this out. I think it's an undue burden for the homeowner. So I'm prepared to vote on all of them tonight.
Okay, thanks, David. Mike, you got the wind in your sails. You sure you want to add something?
No, I was only going to add, Henry, that typically this NOI would be the after the fact NOI to allow the permitting of those two pads. So I agree with the commission in that regard that this order of conditions can cover those two pads. And that would bring it into compliance, right? So that would be the objective.
Steve, any final thoughts on that?
Well, maybe I lost the thread a little bit, but have these been included in the mitigation calculations, Mike?
I'd have to defer to Letitia if they were included. But we're well over our required. We're required in the 0 to 30, 230 square feet. We're doing 1,104. And the 30 to 50, we're required to do 62. We're doing 428. So I think there's ample mitigation to cover that if they weren't specifically covered.
Good point.
All right, it's sounding to me like the majority of commissioners would like to include this or feels it's the right thing to do is to include the pads in this application. And we will not plan to exclude them when we discuss conditions. It sounds to me. If anything is wrong about that, let me know. I have a question, Mike, about the Historic District Commission. So I'm reading a statement here that says, in Manchester by the Sea, any exterior alteration, construction, or demolition within a designated historic district requires a certificate of approval from the Historic District Commission before a building permit can be issued. Is your applicant going to go before the Historic District Commission prior to obtaining a building permit for this project?
Well, based on our email correspondence with Rebecca, she claims that we don't need to file with the commission since we took the pergola out and there's an exemption for, and I'll highlight it here. I think I can do that. For terraces, walks, driveways, sidewalks, and similar structures provided, oh, that got cut off. Provided they're at grade. I didn't realize that got cut off.
I saw that. It's in our notes.
Yeah. So it's as long as everything's at grade, we don't need to file. And she said here, if there's no pergola, then it's outside our purview.
Right, but she did not. That's a truncated email, and I'm very hesitant to accept a truncated email without seeing the context of that. Second,
What is it?
I believe that's a truncated email. That's not I don't know what the rest of how that was presented in what context. So
I think this is the whole email chain.
Okay. It just says below that in parens, like quoted text hidden. I don't know what exactly that means. So your answer to me is that you're not going to go before the Historic District Commission.
I don't think we have to.
I think
Okay.
Mark is raising his hand. Maybe he can help.
Yeah, I'm going to get to Mark in 1 second, Bethany. Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. So the scope, according to the HDC, is that this applies to most exterior changes visible from a public way, including new construction, renovations, and in some cases, landscaping features. So I know you have landscaping features. I know there's going to be some renovation of the deck, just as an example. And you're certain that that's outside the scope of HDC.
And that's what Rosemary told us, yeah.
Yeah, she said
Well,
she looked over the plans and this is her response. That's how I understood it.
right. But Olga, this is from February 3rd, and the plans were revised February 12th. So I don't see how Rosemary did review the updated plan.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Bethany, what's up?
I sent an email later today. I emailed Rosemary myself
Mhm.
and sent her the updated plans. And
Wait, you just
let me
you just
screen
got
share
me.
this like right now because I did email her today, actually.
Very well.
Thank you, Bethany.
No problem. I was like, wait, I did email her.
You got a response at 1:58.
Yes. I was like, hello, here I'm attaching the plans, and these are the updated plans. Like the ones we were looking at and reviewing today. And I explained that the pergolas were moved and the wood fire pit. And I asked, like, what was her belief on this? And she's like, hi, Bethany. Thank you for sharing the plans. The work looks to be outside the purview of the Historic District Commission, according to the Historic District Commission guidelines on page 5. And then she quotes the addition, the following types of work typically do not require an application, about the grade level and the removal of landscaping plant material. And she's like, I appreciate you checking in about this project being undertaken in the Historic District. And signed, Rosemary.
Lovely. That is all that I wanted to see. Apparently, that was a task not within the DeRosa umbrella. Oh, Mark, sorry, go. You're muted, Mark.
That's exactly what I was going to say, and I spoke to Rosemary as well today, so this does not need to go to the Historic Commission.
Perfect. Got it. Other commissioner comments before we move to public comments?
Leticia has put in the notes in the chat that those impervious were included in the calculations and in the mitigation.
I didn't get most of that, Steve. Your audio quality is not good.
I
Check
can,
the chat.
yeah, I can
Henry.
speak for Steve.
I will do that.
He said check the chat, and Letitia said that the generator and
we're
AC
included.
pads were included on the calculations, and they provided mitigation for that.
Great. I think that makes that even more palatable. And Mark, you're going to put your hand down after that comment, right? Yes, he did. Terrific. All right, let's move. We're going to move to public comment. I'm going to give my same speech I gave last time, which is the Conservation Commission is not concerned with parking. We are not concerned with turning radiuses or radii. We are not concerned with removal of snow or storage of snow. Having said that, is there any public comment? Lisa, I see your hand is up, and we got correspondence from you, and I know that one of the primary things that you wanted was acknowledgement of receipt of the files that you have sent. So I think I can give that to you, that we have received everything. That includes both photographs, videos earlier in the case, not this week, but new photographs this week, and a list of questions. Now, in reviewing the questions, all of those topics have been covered at one time for this case, so we're not going to review the questions. We're not going to go over the question list. You do have 2 minutes for public comment, and that will start now. What's up?
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the time. So I was concerned with the wall, and as well as the wall and the storm runoff. and concerned with that. And since they've added more of the wall and it's closer to our property since the beginning. And then the second piece, the generator, issue with that of having that be approved after the fact when it was put there without permission. I understand that they want to talk about, but it's very noisy. It's very close to my property, as well as very close to the doors of my back in the house. So those were never considered, and they were never put on ever in the plans to begin with for the house. So I would like to be able to see that final plan or the as-built and why that was allowed to begin with. So nobody has ever approved those plans, that piece. And then as well as looking at the trees that would be put there, if new any kind of landscaping where those trees would be placed, and how tall they would be. As well as any of the parking that I know that parking spaces still there, as well as the gas line. Where would that be coming from? That would, if it was in the generator, and why is the gas line still being requested, a gas line? So if those questions could be answered, I greatly appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much. Mike, is your preference to address any of those or to hear the remaining public comment?
We can go one by one. I mean, the gas line was removed, so there is no gas line. The walls, I think, are just sitting walls. They're granite blocks to protect the grass area. And I don't know if we have trees on the plant list. We have red cedar and shadbush on the plant list, and they'll be in the planting areas.
And the planting plan is available. Bethany has that, Mike?
Yeah, that was on the initial filing. Yeah.
All right. So Lisa, that's available and we can get it to you if that's something you're interested in.
I appreciate that. Because, yeah.
Thank you very much. OGB, please, first and last name and address.
I'm Orestes Brown.
Oh.
And I'm not sure if Lisa realized that I snuck in here, but I represent Lisa Martinez and her husband, Chris Williams. And I just wanted to remind the board that, and I'm not sure Lisa completely conveyed this. Lisa Martinez and Chris Williams are opposed to the generator pads, the two pads that were put in there before, because there hasn't been an alternatives analysis that's required, or a meaningful alternatives analysis to investigate whether there would be an alternative site for those pads. And clearly, just looking at the plan, there is an alternative site up against the rear of the existing structure. And there hasn't been any explanation of why those pads couldn't go over there. Beyond that, there are other newer structures being installed into the no disturb zone, i.e. the two retaining walls and the pergola, without any explanation as to what impact those structures are going to have on stormwater diversion or surge. The requirement is that the applicant, there's a presumption, of course, in those zones that there will be an adverse impact on the protected resource. And the applicant has to overcome that presumption with clear and convincing evidence. And so the applicant should have had to come forward with clear and convincing evidence in the form of an engineering report, at the very least, that would explain what impact that those walls and structures are going to have on stormwater diversion and stormwater surge. You know, the concern by my clients being that stormwater is going to be diverted onto their property during maximum storm events. So that's a legitimate concern. That is an obligation of the applicant to present the qualified engineering expertise to address those concerns and to do those alternative analyses as required under the law. It's understandable that the applicant wants to build into those areas, but unfortunately, they are no disturb zones, and it seems like this is an attempt by increment to build structures in a zone that it's otherwise not allowed. The pergola
Okay,
is the same.
we got it, Russ.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Mike, do you want to comment on any of that? I know the pergola is certainly not under
Yeah, I
consideration,
think,
so let's just don't worry about
yeah,
that.
I think Mr. Brown wasn't at the last meeting and we discussed a lot of this at that point, but there is no pergola, there is no gas line. It's really just landscaping at this point in time. This is not an attempt to incrementally develop the lot. The no disturb zone activities have been mitigated, so that's all.
Great. Thanks, Mike. Mike S., please unmute yourself. Mike, please
Muted
unmute
Mike
yourself.
S. It's on the button on the left-hand side.
Yes, sorry about that. Michael Storella, 119 Pine Street. When looking at the plans, I thought there was still a gas line leaving the generator and going to the back of the pergola on that grassy area. Is that true, or am I reading the plan wrong?
I believe it's been eliminated, but I'll let Mike comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that gas line's been eliminated completely. So they're going to use wood instead of gas for the fire pit.
That's what I thought, but on the copy of the plan I saw, it still had a line on it, if you could check that out.
Yeah, I'll
Look
share
at-
the plan. It might have been a Scrivener's error.
Well,
Let me
sometimes.
share the plan. If we need to get a revised plan to the commission,
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
as a
You should be able to.
yeah, I'm finding it again.
I thought I had the latest version, but
Sorry,
that's all right.
trying to slide this over. Now that everybody's seasick.
Yeah, so there's right behind, that. Okay, I'll wait till you stop, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. It split my screen.
Yeah, I'm more seasick now, Mike.
Oh, I see what you mean. No, I see it.
You see it over and right
Yeah,
there?
it's the leader that went to it, but I think Letitia, you forgot to delete it. You
Okay.
deleted the line, but you didn't delete the note.
The note. Okay.
Okay, so
Okay,
that.
Mike, anything else?
No,
The other thing would be, I mean, in looking at the property, I mean, it's not Lisa and what Lisa's talking about, but the other property, there doesn't seem to be a lot of room, but there's another walkway below the building that says stone walkway. Is that really there? And I mean, there could be spot for removing the generator and AC pad back up closer to the house. Now, on the other hand, that might be more noisy than where it is now. So it almost leads you to let the two neighbors figure out where they go if they were to move.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Okay,
I'm
thank
going
you.
to
That's all I
stop you
have.
there. And Mike DeRosa, do you want to say anything else?
no, other than we need to get Bethany an updated plan, removing that note.
Right. Okay. That seems reasonable. Other comments from the public? Okay. Steve, if you can hear this and can reply, I'm hesitant to go back to revisit any of the concrete pad matters for many reasons. Do you have any helpful suggestions for that topic? Steve Gang.
Can you be more specific? Are you worrying about the order of conditions or something else?
No, it seems that it's a concern and we should, I think the commission should decide whether that's, because of the conversations we've had, for example, with, and receiving, DPW okay for the pads to be on the easement, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My feeling is they're better left where they are and included in, and as we discussed earlier, included in this application. Do any commissioners agree or disagree?
My common sense says the same thing. But the reason I made a little bit earlier is that I don't think it's really nailed, you know, that discussion for the alternatives and possibilities. We know this is a tight site, you know, there's a clearance required from the house for a generator. But again, be my faulty memory. I don't think as thorough an explanation of the question of where to put the pads as we have the issue of the pergola or the gas fire pit, or going back to the garage or the porch or the removable stairway. So all this we briefed very thoroughly. Do you remember us going over the pads and their possible alternatives at any stage?
Eve, I think maybe you should try to like call in on your phone because I personally could barely understand what you're saying.
Yeah. I think what Steve was asking, he if I can try to summarize, he recalls us going over a lot of alternatives with the previous plans and the stairs and everything else that was proposed. He was not remembering whether we had talked about the placements of the pads and clearly looked at the alternatives analysis for those. I believe in our last meeting we did talk about that somewhat. I don't know if the applicant has any verbiage that they can pull up that they had submitted. Steve was mentioning that there are requirements for the generator to be a certain number of feet away from the house, so that while we might be able to get the AC unit tucked right up against it, the generator will probably still need to be roughly where it is. Hopefully I'm capturing his comments accurately, but that's kind of the gist of what I heard.
Okay, thanks, Gordon. Well, we have to, or I wish to move this along, move the case along. So, well, Mike is gonna.
Well, to respond to Gordon, I have the notes from the February meeting, which summarize our discussion with DPW, if you want those. If I can manage this.
It was there, Mike.
It was. Where did it go? Give me a minute and I will try again.
Sure. Go ahead,
Sorry.
take your time. Jim, your hand is up. Is that...
Mike DeRosa, was it considered to put a fence next to the generator or AC to mitigate noise? Not a fence, but something that would block?
Plantings even?
I think there is a fence on the plan here. Let me just, I got this here. So this was I forget, the February 3rd meeting, is that right? Had installed a concrete pad housing the generator partially within the town sewer easement. The commission asked if this could be relocated. We went through, the generator needs to be 5 feet from the house of the exterior walls are not fire rated, which is typical for single family homes. Letitia had looked into those setback requirements. So this is sort of the alternatives analysis. And then we talked and got an email from Nate. Manchester DPW not require its relocation. And I can find that email probably.
No, that's perfect,
know.
Mike.
So
That satisfies me that in alternatives analysis,
and then there is a fence, proposed non-combustible material screening, so that is proposed as part of this
Mike,
NOI.
is that on the side of the applicant or on
That's
the
the
side
side
of
of
the
the
neighbors?
applicant. Yeah.
Yeah, so that doesn't do much for the neighbors.
Testing.
May make
1,
it worse.
2. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, there's a fence on this side
yeah,
already.
we can, Steve.
Okay.
There is a fence on this side already.
Hmm.
So
Right.
I'm not sure what else we could do.
So Steve dialed in, and Steve, do you have anything you want to add on that?
I'm afraid I missed all the last 5 minutes.
So Mike DeRosa was able to provide some notes from the February 3rd, or last meeting, and an alternatives analysis had been conducted, but would require moving the pad into the 30-foot zone. So that was not ideal. And the plan does show a fence to be built on the side that's on the applicant side, but there is also an existing fence on the neighbor side, the 50 Central Street side, it appears.
Good. I don't think I have anything to add.
No, and I'm satisfied that alternatives were considered in that case. So
Likewise.
Are there further comments from commissioners or from the public? I'm going to seek a motion to close the hearing on 48 Central Street.
So moved.
Seconded.
Second.
Thank you, Steve. We're going to take a vote on that. Jim?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Olga?
Aye.
David? David, repeat that.
That was an aye.
Gordon?
Aye.
And Vice Chair is an aye, so there's unanimous motion to close the hearing. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Good night. Stay warm.
Good night. And that will close our public hearing. We will talk about order of conditions for 0390945, 48 Central Street.
Let me screen share. It's been lingering for a while in the folders, but
I'm sure it's awesome. Bethany.
yes. Does anyone have anything to add?
Could you maybe just highlight any special conditions or perpetual conditions?
I have special conditions of mitigation plantings shall be monitored because there's mitigation plantings. In the case of a major storm event, like it should be secured. Any like the wood pile.
That's a good point. Maybe we can add more specific language, like inclusive of wood pile. That would be great.
You notice we mentioned pesticides and herbicides, but are we taking any position, any conditions on fertilizers?
Might as well include it.
Yeah. we're back in the organic lawn category.
Pesticides. Was this added?
Or fertilizers. And should we say non-organic fertilizers to
definitely
allow
say-
organic?
Yes.
Yep.
So here's a question for the commission. Even organic fertilizer is going to have nitrogen, right?
Yep.
And that's a big part of the runoff of that is problematic for the water resource, right? So,
Did I just say fertilizers?
yeah,
Sure. We can exclude
I'd
fertilizer.
be okay excluding everything. Yeah.
Mhm.
Natural one.
Right, great. So those are perpetuals. Are there more perpetuals above that? Okay. And does anybody feel like we need to protect against, I mean, further building or development of whatever is put onto the deck? I mean, I know that that should require an NOI and a building permit, et cetera, but some of the comments we received from butters had to do specifically with kind of like
Worry
a
about that.
scope
Yeah.
creep of things being built.
Well, we have to be careful. I mean, if they want to put outdoor furniture in there, I don't want the neighbors calling to complain about that. I think we should be wary about adding those.
Okay.
I mean, what about condition 33? No alteration within the well.
Restoration. I'm not sure I know what a restoration area is in this case.
Yeah, sorry.
We have
Resource
mitigation plantings going on, but if we wanted to include that, we'd have to call it we'd have to define the deck area. That's what's being replaced, I think. Deck and patio. But
It anywhere up on top where any new construction of any kind
Yeah, I
would
thought that
have
was
to-
sort of standardly part of it. It would say
Yeah.
that, right? Additional alteration prohibited, number 31, right?
Yeah, I feel like that like covers.
mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I see. It looks
gone.
good.
Yeah.
All right. That looks fine. Do we need to, is there language, Bethany, that
Mhm.
defines the town easement and the applicant responsibility for
No.
providing aren't they responsible for
Accessibility.
providing access to the
Yeah.
the drains if in the event of for any reason needing to access?
No, but that can be added. What, Olga?
No, I'm
I just thought
asking,
it was.
we
I
had that
thought-
conversation with DPW.
Yeah, I thought we had understood that it's in the body of the NOI that if they need to access it, it is the owner's responsibility and will pay for it.
Yep.
So I don't know if we need to repeat it here in the.
Because yeah.
I don't think it can hurt to include it in perpetual conditions. But if you just put a placeholder, Bethany, you can maybe pull the language from the
Yeah.
application.
Yeah, let me pause my share. I remember messaging Nate about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that too. Okay. Anything else, commissioners, on conditions? Either regular, special, or perpetual?
Mhm.
All right. Do we need a vote on accepting our orders of conditions?
I will move that we accept the order of conditions for 48 Central Street.
Is there a second?
Mr. Chair, should we put in the findings some mention of the easement? Because we did spend a fair amount of effort on that, and I hate to have it not be documented for the future.
I think that what Henry was saying is put a place there and look for the language that we got and then put it into the order of conditions.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that it's the owner's responsibility down the road if there's any need for access provided.
Yeah.
What I was thinking of is the question of how would this commission, what were these guys thinking that they let this guy build something on top of the sewer easement? Let's just have a finding that says, yes, there's a sewer easement, and yes, there's going to be some alteration on top of it, but see permanent condition 36.
So Bethany, I think even in 36, even right before the if, I think we can just say a town easement exists across the applicant,
Yeah, the
building
project
lot,
area.
project area. And then if for any reason, then so I guess it's a sewer access easement or manhole cover. I don't know how it's referred to. At least then it's referring to the actual thing.
Okay.
Is that better, Steve?
Yep. I'm just thinking writing more in there is probably useful, leaving some breadcrumbs for future.
And do we need to, is there any need to specifically address the approval of the concrete pads, or is that assumed because it's in the application?
I think it's in the application, but
Yeah,
that's just me thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, I think unless we need to condition it, which I can't think of any conditions for those.
No. Okay. Perfect. Just checking. All right. So there's a motion to approve these order of conditions, 48 Central Street. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Thank you, David. And all in favor, David?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Olga?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Gordon?
Aye.
And Vice Chair's an aye as well, so that's unanimous.
Awesome.
Thank you. Whew. We did it.
Oh.
We have minutes for review from February 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
I might have one or two comments. Did anybody go through those, and does anybody else have comments?
The only comment I have is, it's in the last paragraph where the lawyer is Mark Glovsky, not Mark Lumsden.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think good catch.
Unless there was some bizarre familial connection, David.
Think not.
I saw that as well. I thought that was funny.
I agree with that. Also, in the paragraph just before that, the previously lost BRIC grant is spelled all caps BRIC. It's the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities program.
And just to be super picky, in the same paragraph, Bethany, as Mark Lumsden, Sawmill Brook needs to be capitalized. Sawmill needs to be capitalized. But that's a minor issue.
That's all I had.
That's all I have. Olga?
That's all I have.
All right. Beaver Solutions annual bill. Bethany, can you take that away? Mike, I'm sorry, we're not in a public hearing portion of our meeting. Thank you, though.
Wait, are you gonna vote
Yeah,
to
why don't
approve
we
the
Yes.
minutes?
Let's
those
approve
minutes?
I'll
I'll make a
move, we
motion, we
approve
approve the
minute.
minutes as amended.
And
Thank you. Seconded by Henry. All in favor, Steve,
Aye.
Olga,
aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Gordon,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
and Vice Chair is an aye. Bethany Beaver Solutions annual bill.
I messaged Andrea and Karen at the finance department today, and they have not got back to me about the account numbers. So I request to postpone that discussion to the March meeting.
Okay, not a problem. And Steve, it's just a question of where that, I think Mark might know, and Steve, between Mark and Steve, they'll figure that out as well, if you don't hear back from. It's just a question of the account for Beaver Solutions.
Yeah, and we'll figure it out and let you know by the next meeting.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Any harm in approving it and leaving to Bethany to identify the right account for payment?
Yes.
We can do that. There were two parts to it, right, Bethany? One was like an annual service, and then one was replacement of, was that one of the damaged units or something to that effect?
That's
Yeah, I
next
can
year's
pull-
proposal.
Yeah, it's so one was
I can pull it up.
2,000
Hold on.
and change, and the other was 2,000 and change. So I think the
Yeah,
total
one is 2025 and the other's proposal for 2026.
Mhm.
for the budget year,
Yeah.
Steve.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, they may work on a calendar year, I think, Henry. But
Yep.
the slightly lower number is maintenance plus any other specific repair they had to do last year. And the budget for this year proposes
This is the
to do
annual
that-
maintenance. Mhm.
to do that replacement in addition to annual maintenance.
And this is what they did.
Right. So it's totaling around $5,000, just so we all know what the number is, and that sounds reasonable, Steve.
Well, again, I think we're talking about two different years. Am I misunderstanding it?
Yeah, date completed September 25. That's annual. Is that annual, Bethany? And then below that is the special.
Right, I'm looking at is like their project. I emailed them for like e-documents. Like I can email them to ask for more clarification, but
Yeah,
they haven't got back to me.
jumping around too fast for me to read it.
Oh,
But
I'm sorry.
Steve, I think
This
they're
is-
both 2025, actually.
Oh, okay.
The-
Fair enough.
I think this is like the annual agreement.
Right, but it says it's for 2026. Is that also correct?
Yes. But I think they run like on a year thing, not a fiscal.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, bottom line is it's $5,000 or so for both of those bills,
I
and
think
Steve
you're right.
and Mark will figure it out.
Yep.
Thank
I
you.
stand corrected. You're right.
Okay. All righty. Other topics.
Just one.
David.
Before we go, I have to compliment this committee and the neighbors on their involvement in 48 Central Street. I think over many weeks, we helped to shape a better result with a better outcome. And it was largely, I think, due to the suggestions and the involvement in the neighborhood. So I welcome in the future other neighbors getting involved in our projects and our requests.
Yep, well said.
Amen.
Other comments? If not, Olga, this is your time to shine.
Move that we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Enjoy what the little bit of snow we're getting again tomorrow.
Yeah, get your shovels out. Thanks,
Goodness.
Mark. Thanks, Brian.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Lisa.
everyone.
Well,
Thank you.
See you guys.
Yep. Good job, team. Bye.
Good job.
Bye.
Nice job, Henry.